Welcome to this exploration of the great guilt that causes the death effect, a profound presentation by biologist Jeremy Griffith. Today we'll journey through the depths of the human condition, uncovering why humanity has struggled with immense guilt and shame for millions of years. We'll see how this burden has shaped our psychology, our societies, and even our ability to hear the truth about ourselves. This video will guide you through the origins of our guilt, the psychological blocks it creates, and the liberating understanding that can finally set us free. Let's begin by setting the stage for this world-changing insight. One of the most significant obstacles to understanding ourselves is what Jeremy Griffith calls the deaf effect. This phenomenon describes the initial difficulty people have in truly hearing or absorbing discussions about the human condition. The subject is so confronting and emotionally charged that our minds instinctively block it out, labeling it as tedious or meaningless. This defense mechanism is deeply rooted in our collective psyche, making it challenging for many to engage with the very information that could liberate them. Understanding the deaf effect is crucial for moving forward. To understand the deaf effect, we must first look at the origins of human guilt. According to Griffith, our species once lived in a state of cooperative and loving innocence. However, as we became conscious beings, we began to act in ways that conflicted with our instinctive expectations of selfless and loving behavior. This shift led to an overwhelming sense of guilt and shame for corrupting our original, innocent selves. The inability to explain this change forced humanity into denial, creating a psychological burden that has persisted for millennia. The human condition is a term that encapsulates our struggle with the duality of good and evil within us. Griffith defines it as the immense guilt and shame experienced when we became conscious and began acting against our instinctive, cooperative nature. This internal conflict has been the source of much suffering, confusion, and denial throughout human history. By understanding the true nature of the human condition, we can begin to unravel the psychological barriers that have held us back. Many individuals have shared their experiences of struggling with the deaf effect. For example, Fabiana Hargreaves da Costa described how she initially found it difficult to engage with Griffith's work, feeling it didn't address her immediate problems. Only after persevering did she break through the deaf effect, finding immense relief and understanding. Similarly, Ari Akratides recounted how he dismissed the material at first, unable to accept its implications. These personal stories highlight the reality of the deaf effect and the transformative power of overcoming it. Griffith refers to the understanding of the human condition as the most wonderful of all gifts, yet the very block that prevents us from receiving this gift is the deaf effect. The mind's resistance to confronting our own guilt and shame keeps us from accessing the healing insights that could transform our lives. This block is not just intellectual but deeply emotional, rooted in our fear of facing the truth about ourselves. Recognizing this block is the first step toward liberation. Humanity's journey began in a state of innocence, full of kindness, generosity, and love. As we became conscious, we started to question the world around us, seeking meaning in everything from thunder to the behavior of animals. This curiosity was not initially a problem, as our loving nature allowed us to cope with confusion. However, as our search for knowledge intensified, we began to act in ways that conflicted with our instincts, leading to the emergence of guilt and shame. The transition from innocence to corruption is often depicted in religious and cultural metaphors, such as the story of Adam and Eve being cast out of Eden. This loss of paradise symbolizes humanity's fall from a state of harmony with our instincts to one of conflict and self-condemnation. The resulting loneliness and sense of being booted out of a loving existence have haunted us ever since, fueling the deep-seated guilt that underlies the human condition. Cartoons and art often capture the emotional turmoil of humanity's fall from grace. For example, Michael Lunig's cartoon of Adam and Eve shows the progression from innocence to defensiveness and anger, culminating in the destruction of paradise. These metaphors illustrate how humans have responded to their guilt with denial, defensiveness, and even retaliation against the world that once nurtured them. Understanding these responses helps us see the roots of our psychological struggles. The sense of isolation and loneliness that followed humanity's loss of innocence is profound. We became beings who felt condemned and ostracized, not only by others but by the world itself. This loneliness is depicted in art such as Turner's Fishermen at Sea, where individuals huddle together against overwhelming darkness. The psychological impact of this loneliness has shaped our societies and our need for comfort and connection. In response to this loneliness, ancient humans sought comfort by surrounding themselves with symbols of their ancestors. Archaeological sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey feature T-shaped pillars representing ancestors, offering a sense of presence and support. These structures reflect humanity's deep need for reassurance and connection in the face of overwhelming guilt and isolation. The shift from living in nature to forming settlements intensified these feelings, as people became more aware of their psychological struggles. The design of ancient settlements, with pillars forming circles, mirrors the way hunter-gatherer societies like the Bushmen of the Kalahari would sit together, backs to nature, seeking comfort in each other's presence. This arrangement symbolizes the collective effort to cope with the condemnation felt from the natural world and from within. By forming circles, humans created a psychological barrier against the loneliness and guilt that plagued them. Anthropologists have often struggled to make sense of ancient human behavior because they have not acknowledged our original state of innocence. Without this key insight, interpretations of archaeological findings remain incomplete. Recognizing our lost innocence is essential for understanding the psychological motivations behind ancient practices and the development of human societies. In early human societies, nurturing played a central role in shaping our moral instincts. Archaeological discoveries of goddess or Venus figurines, such as those found at Saddlehuruk, highlight the importance of matriarchy and the power women held in these communities. This nurturing environment was crucial for the development of our cooperative and loving nature, which later became overshadowed by the emergence of the human condition. As humanity's psychological struggles intensified, the balance of power shifted from matriarchy to patriarchy. This transition reflected the growing need to support the search for knowledge and understanding, a journey that was often led by men. The lingering influence of matriarchy in early settlements reveals the slow and complex nature of this shift, as societies grappled with the challenges of the human condition. Interestingly, the pillars at Göbekli Tepe lack facial features. Griffith suggests this was intentional, as depicting the faces of ancestors would have forced people to confront the tortured human condition they wished to avoid. Instead, the blank heads served as comforting symbols, free from the agony of alienation. This avoidance of painful truths is a recurring theme in human culture and psychology. Artists have long grappled with the challenge of representing the human condition. Works like Francis Bacon's self-portraits and Goya's etchings capture the sense of alienation and psychological torment that defines much of human experience. These powerful images serve as windows into the depths of our collective suffering, offering a visual language for emotions that are often difficult to express in words. Despite the prevalence of alienation, there remains a deep well of empathy within the human soul. Griffith's own drawings of happy, embracing children and loving mothers capture the tenderness and connection that still exist beneath the surface. These images remind us of our original nature and the possibility of reclaiming our lost innocence through understanding and compassion. Not all artistic expressions are of innocence. Griffith also illustrates the oppressive effects of egocentric behavior, such as the impact of power-addicted fathers on their children. These drawings highlight the psychological damage caused by the denial and defensiveness that arise from the human condition, emphasizing the importance of confronting and understanding these patterns. In many ancient cultures, masks were used in rituals to exorcise or manage psychological upset. At Göbekli Tepe, carvings of faces are thought to represent masks rather than true depictions of ancestors. These practices reflect humanity's ongoing struggle to cope with the pain of alienation and the need to find ways to manage overwhelming emotions. As humanity's search for knowledge continued, depression became a dominant feature of human life. The loss of innocence and the inability to reconcile our actions with our instincts led to a pervasive sense of sadness and insecurity. Despite efforts to maintain a positive outlook, this underlying depression has shaped much of our behavior and societal norms. Artists like Francisco Goya have captured the psychological torment of the human condition in works such as The Sleep of Reason Brings Forth Monsters. These images depict the nightmares and fears that arise when we confront our own corrupted nature. Art serves as both a mirror and a means of processing the deep-seated anxieties that define the human experience. To cope with the unbearable reality of our corrupted condition, humans have developed elaborate systems of denial. From intellectual rationalizations to cultural distractions, these defenses are designed to keep the truth at bay. However, they also prevent us from accessing the healing understanding that could resolve our psychological struggles. Recognizing the ubiquity of denial is essential for breaking free from its grip. During adolescence, most individuals undergo a process Griffith calls resignation. This is the point at which the struggle to confront the imperfections of oneself and the world becomes so overwhelming that the individual gives up and adopts a life of denial. This transition is often accompanied by depression, alienation, and a sense of numbness, as described by Alex Akratides in his personal account. The depth of denial is so great that, as psychiatrist R.D. Laing put it, there is a veil which is more like 50 feet of solid concrete between us and our true selves. This metaphor captures the extent to which we have blocked out awareness of our guilt and alienation. Overcoming this wall is a monumental challenge, but it is necessary for healing and self-understanding. The emergence of consciousness is at the heart of the human condition. While it enabled us to seek knowledge and understanding, it also brought with it the burden of guilt and self-awareness. Scientists and philosophers have long struggled to illuminate the phenomena of consciousness, recognizing it as one of the toughest challenges in understanding human nature. Griffith argues that what was desperately needed was someone innocent enough to look into the human condition without the usual defenses. This innocence allowed for the discovery of a redeeming and healing understanding of our psychological struggles. Importantly, this does not make such individuals more special or worthy. Rather, it highlights the spectrum of experiences resulting from humanity's collective journey. Honest thinkers like Sir Lawrence van der Post provided crucial insights that helped Griffith make sense of the world. By refusing to accept the prevailing denial and dishonesty, these individuals paved the way for a truthful exploration of the human condition. Their courage and clarity serve as inspiration for others seeking to break through the deaf effect. Even with the solution to the human condition in hand, the final challenge remains: overcoming the historic fear and denial that block people from hearing and accepting this understanding. The deaf effect is a powerful force, requiring perseverance, courage, and sometimes unconventional methods to break through. Only by overcoming this barrier can individuals access the transformative insights that await them. For the world to truly benefit from the understanding of the human condition, a critical mass of people must overcome the deaf effect. As more individuals embrace this knowledge, they can demonstrate its safety and value to others, creating a ripple effect of healing and transformation. Social change begins with individual breakthroughs, leading to collective progress. A small group of individuals, referred to as ships at sea, have managed to avoid or overcome the deaf effect without resigning to denial. These people, often due to relative innocence or unique life experiences, are able to engage with the human condition honestly and help lead others toward understanding. Their stories provide hope and guidance for those still struggling with denial. Those who break through the deaf effect often describe a profound sense of relief and healing. Understanding the human condition allows them to make sense of their own lives and the behavior of others, fostering empathy and compassion. This newfound clarity can transform relationships, self-perception, and overall well-being. Modern life is characterized by a high degree of alienation, as described by thinkers like R.D. Laing. Most adults have forgotten the flavor of childhood innocence and live in a state of unconsciousness, estranged from their true selves. This alienation is both a cause and a consequence of the deaf effect, perpetuating cycles of denial and psychological distress. The lyrics of the band With Life in Mind offer a raw and honest portrayal of the human condition. Written by a young teenager, these words express the fear, confusion, and longing for meaning that define the pre-resigned state. Artistic expressions like these serve as powerful reminders of the emotional reality beneath the surface of everyday life. Edvard Munch's iconic painting, The Scream, captures the universal anguish of the human condition. The contrast between the screaming figure and the oblivious passersby highlights the divide between those who confront the truth and those who remain in denial. This image resonates with people of all ages, symbolizing the deep-seated pain that often goes unacknowledged. Vincent van Gogh's paintings, such as The Sower and Three Sunflowers, are celebrated for their ability to capture light and beauty. Van Gogh's relentless pursuit of honesty in his art allowed him to see and depict the world's true illuminated beauty. His work serves as a testament to the transformative power of confronting reality, even at great personal cost. Francisco Goya's contrasting paintings of the St. Isidro Festival illustrate the difference between surface appearances and underlying reality. While one painting depicts joy and celebration, the other reveals a procession of dark, tormented figures. Goya's work exposes the masquerade of normalcy that often hides deep psychological distress. Goya's observation that the world is a masquerade encapsulates the pervasive pretense and deception that characterize much of human interaction. Everyone strives to appear as something they are not, concealing their true feelings and struggles. This masquerade is both a symptom and a cause of the alienation that defines the human condition. Griffith concludes that humanity has been stranded halfway between ape and angel, caught between our evolutionary origins and our potential for goodness. With the understanding of the human condition now available, we can begin the journey back to innocence, reclaiming our capacity for love, empathy, and joy. This transformation is depicted in Griffith's joyful drawing of a free, happy human being. Annie Williams reflects on the importance of empathy and compassion in overcoming the deaf effect. She emphasizes that only by reaching out with genuine understanding can we help others reconnect with their original, loving selves. This process requires patience, sensitivity, and a willingness to confront difficult truths, but it holds the promise of profound healing. Rufensi Malasiwa, a young South African author, shares his experience of discovering Griffith's work. He describes the immediate relief and clarity he felt, as well as the transformative impact on his understanding of life, relationships, and even issues like racism. Rufensi's testimony illustrates the universal relevance and healing potential of the insights presented in this work. Overcoming the deaf effect requires perseverance and a willingness to confront discomfort. Many who have succeeded in breaking through describe a period of struggle, followed by a profound sense of liberation. This journey is not easy, but the rewards are immense, offering a new perspective on life and the possibility of true freedom from psychological suffering. The World Transformation Movement, WTM, provides a supportive community for those seeking to understand and overcome the human condition. By sharing experiences, insights, and encouragement, members help each other navigate the challenges of the deaf effect and embrace the healing power of understanding. Community is essential for sustaining personal and collective transformation. With the understanding of the human condition now available, humanity stands on the threshold of a new era. The dawn of enlightenment promises to drain away the darkness of guilt, shame, and denial, replacing it with light, joy, and freedom. This is the ultimate promise of Griffith's work, the possibility of a world transformed by self-knowledge and compassion. In conclusion, the great guilt that causes the deaf effect offers a path to healing and transformation for all humanity. By understanding the origins of our guilt, recognizing the power of denial, and persevering through the deaf effect, we can reclaim our original innocence and live with empathy, compassion, and joy. The journey is challenging, but the gift awaiting us is truly the most wonderful of all. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the human condition.